Hidden gifts can reveal themselves in the most unexpected places, like in times of grief and loss. Before I experienced the death that changed my life forever, grief wasn't something I thought much about. But afterwards, it was my constant companion. In January of 2020, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I flew across the country to care for her, and over the next 10 weeks, I watched her slow and painful decline. My heart broke as the person who brought me into this world now relied on me to help her leave it. Caring for her during COVID meant reduced hospice visits, no friends gathered by her bedside, and when she was gone, we couldn't even have a funeral. Her death rearranged me, and I could not go back to business as usual. I thought about death constantly. I cried anytime I heard a song that reminded me of my mom, and I talked about her to anyone who would listen. Grief came in powerful waves, demanding to be released. But gradually, I started to recognize the hidden gifts in the midst of my sadness. I was grateful for the precious time I'd had with her. The lockdown, which had felt like a curse, was also a blessing. It allowed me to focus entirely on her. And quiet walks with her dog had provided a calm in the storm. In my search for ways to adjust to life after loss, I discovered end-of-life doulas. When I reached out, they offered me a doula of my own. What a gift! For an hour each week, she listened to me tell stories about my mom, the pain and the beauty, the humor and the forgiveness, and the love we shared. She helped me see the hidden gift of grief itself. If I could let it move through me, it offered me the gift of releasing my sadness. She validated my experience, and she told me, your stories matter, and they can help others heal too. That sparked an idea. I would start a podcast about finding the hidden gifts of loss. As my podcast grew, I noticed a pattern among my guests. Each of them had experienced a profound loss that changed the trajectory of their lives. And almost without exception, they felt called, sometimes even obligated, to help others with their pain. They had taken their grief and somehow transformed it into purpose. One of my guests lost her 2 youngest children in a car accident on Mother's Day. As a mother myself, I can't even imagine that level of pain. She told me that for 3 years, her grief was so heavy it felt impossible to move forward. And then someone said to her, "You were meant to do something with this pain." Although she had no idea what it could be, looking for purpose was the start of her healing. Eventually, she became a grief coach, and she noticed that doing this work brought as much healing to her as it did to her clients. Then she started training others to be grief coaches, and today she's helped thousands of people heal. A purpose born of unimaginable pain is now a gift to so many. Another guest's husband developed Lewy body dementia. When the doctors told her there's nothing you can do, she refused to accept it. She went back to school, learning everything she could about dementia care. For 7 years, she took care of him until he passed. And now, she's an advocate helping families navigate the world of dementia. This gift has become her life's work. Just 1 year after my mom died, my father also passed from heart failure and COVID. Because my mom had saved everything, when my brother and I had to sell our childhood home, cleaning out 60 years worth of belongings was daunting. There were hundreds of bins and boxes with everything from actual gifts to every pay stub and greeting card she ever received. Even before she got sick, she used to say to me, "Someday when I'm gone and you go through all my things, Look for that ruby and diamond ring my Aunt Margaret gave me when I was just a little girl. Sure, Mom, I thought, like I'm ever going to find that proverbial needle in a haystack. Only I did find it. A couple years later, as I was cleaning out my garage, I opened an old jewelry box, and there it was. I have no idea how it got there, but I was so excited. I grabbed my phone to call my mom. And then I remembered. But in the stillness of that void, I felt her calming presence. And I thought, maybe she already knows. In fact, maybe giving me this hidden gift right then had been her plan all along. When I think about these stories and my own, I realize that loss doesn't just take, it also gives. If we can allow ourselves to go through it and really feel our grief, loss becomes almost an initiation or a portal that can transform us in ways we never expected, even nudge us towards our life's work. If you've experienced a heartbreaking, life-altering loss, you might feel alone or stuck, or even like you're supposed to just get over it. Well, it's not something you get over. That pain may always be there because you loved them. But when you feel it most intensely, maybe that's when they're closest to you, saying hello. It's okay to tell those stories. Lots of people will listen. An end-of-life doula, a grief coach, or even a podcaster with a keen interest in loss. When you share your story, you begin to heal. And when others recognize themselves in your story, they start to heal too. Pain doesn't have to isolate us. In fact, it's often the bridge that connects us. So if you're going through loss, I invite you to consider the possibility of hidden gifts. They might just surprise you, and they could help lead you from grief to healing to a purpose you never imagined. Thank you.